Gonna hand it over to Stanley, who's gonna share on being a parent.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Rod. My name is Stanley, and I'm a grateful recovering addict.
Hello.
Thank you, guys. Firstly, when Roz asked me to be of service and share, she asked me to pick a topic, and I was looking through the Living Clean, and there was topics: sex, relationships, blah 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 blah. And when I saw being a parent, boom, it spoke to me. And then the codependent side of me was like, but what about people who don't have kids? I don't want to exclude them, And then my higher power reminded me that I'm powerless over people, places, and things. I've got to let go of that. This is where I'm at today, being a parent. And firstly, my 13-year-old son was like, Dad, when are you leaving? Couldn't wait for me to get me out the door. So I'm a full-time parent. I don't say I'm a single parent because I don't want to sound like I'm a victim, so I say I'm a full-time parent. I'm a full-time parent to a 13-year-old boy who's been living with me for the last 3.5 years. Now, just as the reading talked about, it was a surprise for me. I was 18 years clean when my son was born. I had, up until that point, I had kind of tried my best to hold off and, do the right thing. I wanted to walk down the aisle, get married, do you know what I mean? Have the white picket fence, the Volvo, the rocking chair, do you know what I mean? I wanted the family that I didn't have. And surprise, surprise, it just happened. That's another story, but it happened. And I had to deal with it. And it triggered me in so many ways, hugely. And I'm gonna go deep. I'm talking some deep sea diving here, so you get your kit on. I am gonna go deep because it's not just about being a parent. It's about the journey of being a child. It's about that journey of being a child, being not having parents. My story is, I went through children's homes and foster parents and all of that stuff because my mum, single parent mum, had 4 kids, 4 different fathers, and sadly my mum was diagnosed with schizophrenia when I was 5 years old. So myself and my siblings ended up going through the care system. So for this recovering addict, I was split up from my siblings at the age of 9, 10. And I went on my journey. They stayed together in the children's home. I got split up. And I would see them in the holidays. But I went on my journey, and that journey was that journey of, as we talk about in the literature, degradation, desperateness, that journey of hopelessness, that journey of, me against the world. I would take anyone on, anyone. I did not care whether I lived or whether I died. I did not care. I used to live and I lived to use. I didn't care what it was. I had so much anger, resentment, bitterness. I had so much pain, anguish, trauma. I didn't even know the word trauma back then. Rage, all of this stuff. I was constantly moved from one children's home to another children's home, from one foster parent to another foster parent. And I was that runaway child. And ironically, I wrote a memoir recently, and I compare myself to this character in this TV series called Roots. And in Roots, you got this runaway slave called Kunta Kinte. And I compare myself to Kunta Kinte because I was always running away, trying to find my way back to London, because in the end, I got fostered out of London to this place called Nottingham. And I was always constantly trying to find my way back home until one day I did. And I went on this journey being back in London at the age of 14. Boom, I'm on the drugs, I'm robbing, I'm stealing, I'm doing the whole 9 yards, detention centres, Borstals, young offenders, all of that. And now when I come full circle, what I'm saying is, I didn't have parents. I had to raise myself. I had no clue about nurturing, about love, about compromise. How do you do this stuff? When I walked through the doors into this fellowship, I was 23 years of age. A few weeks' time, I'll be 32 years clean, one day at a time. Because when I came into this fellowship, I came in that broken young man who didn't have a clue about life, only the streets. In here, I learned how to parent myself. I learned how to take care of little Stanley. I learned how to love him. I learned how to nurture him. I can remember the first few years in recovery, I couldn't even look in the mirror. I couldn't look in the mirror because of the shame that I was carrying. Do you know what I mean? From the stuff I'd done while in my using. It took me a long time to look in the mirror, and I was talking to another fellowship member the other day, and I said, for a long time, if I was walking down the street and you walk behind me, I had to look behind, who's behind me? I couldn't have you walking behind me without me spinning around. And I never forget, I don't know whether it's 5, 6 years clean further down the road, I was walking, someone was behind me, and I had the urge to look, and it's like my higher power said, it's okay, you're safe. You don't have to look. You're all right. You're going to be all right. And I just held it, and I let the person walk past, and I kind of just had a little glimpse. But the point I'm making is, what I'm getting to here is, I had to learn how to parent myself. I had to take myself through the steps. And I'm really grateful for the fellowship, the steps, the tradition, the whole 9 yards. Do you know what I mean? Doing service. I want to acknowledge our lovely tea person here. You reminded me of my early days. One of my first commitments was tea. And I did it just like you, with passion and love and caring, making sure everyone was all right. So I want to acknowledge you for that. And, you know, that journey I went on in this fellowship taught me I had work to do. It was not just about putting down the crack, the heroin, the ease, the whatever, the Valium, the list is endless. It wasn't just about the drugs. It was healing the trauma within myself. And it was getting to understand and learning about the inner child. And what I used to say when I used to do shares and blah, blah, blah earlier, I was like, before I had my son, I was like, you know what, I'm doing this for my unborn children. You know, and I'm doing this, do you know what I mean, for my family and as well as myself. And then it happened. I became a dad, a real dad, because I was one of those kids when I went back, when I got back home after running away, I ended up helping to raise my brother who was 10 years younger. So I became kind of like a surrogate dad to him, do you know what I mean? And I had so much on my plate at a young age, but that's another story. But what I'm trying to connect with here is, now I'm a real dad, a biological dad to this young boy. And sadly, the story didn't end with a white picket fence, the Volvo and the rocking chair as I had hoped. Because my son's mum decided to go to Scotland, where her roots is from, to be next to her mum, no problem, cool. And then she decided to stay there. And I didn't want to upset the apple cart, so to speak, because I'm from Hackney, East London, and where they were living in Inverness is the Highlands, sea, forest, they leave their doors open, this idyllic eco-village. I can't compete with that. Who am I to say, no, you can't live there, bring our son here so I can be closer? So what I did for 10 years was every 2 weeks, I will get on a flight from Gatwick or Luton and fly up to see my son. That was because of this program. If I hadn't been doing the work that I had done and still doing, there's absolutely no way on heaven on earth would I be getting on a flight to go all the way up to Inverness every 2 weeks for almost 10 years to see my son, to be in his life. And the most powerful thing about that is, not once did my dad ever come to see me at school or view my schoolwork or none of that. I didn't have any of that. So what I was trying to do through the power of this program and some more, because yeah, we got the steps, you know, I was one of those hardcore, you know, do the steps, traditions and blah, 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 blah. And I worked it to the best of my ability, but I also, like the literature talks about, I had to go to other places to get my needs met. You know, I had to dig a little deeper through the therapy, the one-to-ones, the groups, the anger management, the rage. I can remember being in places punching pillows and, do you know what I mean, and cushions and talking, you know, with all kinds of stuff. All kinds of stuff. Whatever I could do to heal myself, I did it. And I'll give you another example. There was this shaman visiting from the Amazon rainforest. And through friends of a friend, because I got into the yoga and the meditation, they said, yeah, this shaman's good at healing generational trauma. So I'm like, oh, I'll have some of that. He sat down and he lights a cigar and he's blowing smoke in my face, and I'm sat cross-legged like a Buddha. And he's like, okay, we're going to use chili. I'm like, okay, chili, whatever. Where's the chili? In your eye. I say, in my eye? It's okay, trust me. It's okay, trust me. So I'm like, okay, universe, if this is what you're saying for me to heal this generational trauma, let's go. He brings down my eyelid, woof, wipes the chili on one side. I'm now on fire. Literally, I'm trying to stay cool and I'm trying not to panic, because I know if I panic, it's going to make it worse. And all I'm thinking of, don't think about rushing to the bathroom to wash your face with water, because that's just going to make it worse. And then boom, I sat through it. He said, let's do the other eye. And the other eye. The other eye. Yes, it's okay. Breathe. So, whoa, give me a minute. Just give me a minute. Give me a minute. And I'm like, okay, this is deep. And I went with it. Boom, he does the other eye. Boom, I'm on fire again. And I'm saying to myself, don't panic. The point is, after I finished all the ceremony, I walked away. Did I feel any different? Hell no. No, I did not. But the point is, I was willing to go to any lengths to heal myself. So when I go back to being a parent now to my son, I'm willing to go to any lengths to be a father to this young boy. And I'll never forget, I've got this boy now, he's now 3 or 4, and holy crap, the amount of effort to leave Bethnal Green, get on the tube, to get to the train, to get to the airport, I've got metal in my hip, I'm going through the frigging metal detector, the guy's taking long to search. I'm like, mate, I've got a young boy, got to hurry up with the bit business. Mate, don't tell me how to do my job. Mate, I don't want to argue, but I got to catch this. I can't miss this flight. I cannot let this boy down. That's what I want to say. You know, the anxiety and the fear, and I'm trying to stay cool, not get angry with this guy. He's just trying to do his job, but I want him to hurry up because I don't want to let this kid down. Why? Because I know what it's like to be let down. I know what it's like not to have anyone turn up when you're expecting them to. Do you know what I mean? I've been on the other side of prison visits, you know, children's home where they go, yeah, such a coming, and they don't turn up. So I probably in 10 years missed maybe 2 flights in 10 years. And now we fast forward the tape. His mum threw the towel in when he was 10 years old because she just weren't coping well. I said, I'll take him. And I took him. And a whole bag of worms opened up. Because now you're tapping into my abandonment issues, you're tapping into my rejection, you're tapping into the whole 9 yards now, opening them cans. Because I too was taken away when I was 10. So I'm like, what's the chances? Here he is, he's 10. I went when I was 10. But the difference is with his dad. However, do I know how to be a parent? Hell no. What do I know? This is what I know. Oh, the bomber clock, do you, boy? Sit down when I say sit down. What's the matter with you? I told you 10 times. This is what I know. What the hey, what did I just tell you? I want a rascal. You know what I mean? The Jamaican comes out. The Hackney Stanley comes out. Now, I've calmed down. How long have I got left? 5. Now I feel like a bad parent. Now I feel like a bad person. Now I'm thinking maybe I need to do more steps. Maybe I didn't do the steps properly enough. Maybe I'm just a bad recovering addict. Oh my God, how can you talk to your son like this, man? What's the matter with you? Then I make amends. Hey son, come, I'm really sorry. Bad daddy. I talked to you, no, that I was wrong. My bad. I'm really sorry. I shouldn't have talked to you like that. That's not the way for me to behave. I lost my shit with you and my bad, I'm wrong. Right, let's look at this again. That's what I've had to do every single day for the last 3.5 years. And now the difference is we have a plutonic, very strong father and son relationship. This young man, it made me a bit emotional now. Because he doesn't know I'm in recovery. He said, where are you going tonight, Dad? I said, I'm going to do a talk about my book. Because he knows Daddy wrote a book. He's got an inkling that Daddy was a bit of a naughty boy back in the days. But that's it. And that's okay, because it's on a need-to-know basis. And right now, he doesn't need to know. When he's older, we can cross that bridge. But right now, he don't need to know. And this young man, this young boy, 13 years old, he can talk. Like, he has his own therapist, because I wanted to make sure he wasn't carrying any trauma or any luggage. Do you know what I mean? Because especially not being with mum, I didn't want him to turn against women and all this stuff. So I got him what we call her a mentor rather than a therapist, so it sounds more cooler. My mentor, I'm going to talk to my mentor today, Dad. Yeah, you're going to talk to your mentor. This young man can call me out on my shit. And I got to deal with it. Dad, calm down. What are you getting angry for? I'm not angry. No, you are angry. Were you raising? I'm not raising my voice, but you are. I'm just frustrated. No, Dad, you're angry. Okay, I'm angry. Okay, you're right, I'm angry because I asked you to do that. You didn't do that. So look, I know that, but it's not so deep. Come on, I'm gonna do it. Just gotta do this first. He does Muay Thai. He does tennis. He's a young actor. He's a model. He's got an amazing life that I didn't have in them early days. I've made sure that he's going that way and not the other ways. I live in fear and anxiety most days because of all the knife crime, and I come from the streets and I know exactly what's out there waiting for him if he goes around the wrong corner. And I fight every single day to hand that over. And I get on my knees and I say, higher power, do me a favor. Can you talk to Malachi's higher power, please? And make sure you tell Malachi's higher power, take care of him. Look after him, because I don't know if I can handle it if something happened. I don't know if I'm going to be that parent that when BBC London turn up, I'm going to go, I forgive them, I understand. And I'm looking for you. That will be me. I'm looking for you. Because that's my heart, that's my soul. But in summarizing, because I've come to the end, it's hard to put all of this into 20 minutes because it's such a deep subject, as I said, deep sea diving. The bottom line is this: every single day I'm learning, I'm growing, I'm learning how to be a parent. I'm learning how to not only parent him, but still continue to parent little Stanley. Do you know what I mean? And what I love with this young man, and this is where I get emotional, is I see this potential, this hope, full of life and joy and loved and, you know, little middle class kid. You know what I mean? Sometimes I'm jealous of him. He's got all what he needs, you know? And he comes up to me sometimes because he does a bit of Muay Thai, and he comes and he goes, "Hey Dad," boom, boom, and he boom and snap me up a bit. And I take it, you know what I mean? And I'm like, okay, look, okay, all right now. Okay, Dad, cool, calm down. I said, good, all right, now go, you done your homework? You done this? You done that? Okay, cool, you can watch something. You know, I feel humbled. And it's an honor today to say, I'm a parent. I'm a parent. And I'll end on this. It took me a while to say I'm a parent. I don't know if this makes sense. You know, like sometimes we get imposter syndrome. That's how I felt when he first came to me full time. And sometimes he'll go, Dad. I'm like, oh, me? Yeah, you. But now today, because of the work that I've done and I continue to do, when he says Dad, I'm Dad. I am Dad. I make sure his needs are met. I make sure that he's looked after and cared for. I make sure that I give this boy a healthy, loving relationship, because that's what it is. It's a relationship. And then I got to let go. So I'll end by saying thank you for allowing me to be of service. And this topic, again, I don't exclude anybody who's not parent, and that's why I went a little deeper, looking at the inner child stuff, because we all can relate to that, you know. And honestly, and when I say I am a grateful current addict, I really mean that. Without this fellowship, there's no way I would be the person I am today. Absolutely not. So I'll leave it there, and thank you for allowing me to share.
Oops, hang on. I'll stop.